Hello, everyone.
What's up, guys?
Okay, that was not practice, so that was freaking me out. He was completely off camera. I was like, what's happening right now? There's people showing up. There's comments.
Here we are.
Here we are. This is live. Cheers. Let's raise a toast to one heck of a week.
Right on.
Right on, right on, right on. All right. So hello to those who are out there who are joining us. Your comments are coming through. We will go through some of your comments here shortly. Welcome to our podcast. I'm David Stringer. That's Matt Stocke.
Hi, guys.
Somewhere. And this is Toilet Paper Fortune Cookie.
It is.
A podcast. So we're going to get into all of your questions about where the heck that name ever came from and how we ended up here. So let's see, unorthodox wisdom from unexpected reality. That little slogan came to us in like 45 seconds of mind melding and working together to say, what are we trying to get across here in this podcast? So I'm going to introduce myself, and then Matt will introduce himself, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're planning to do. This first episode is going to be sort of a half of a real episode where we will have guests onto the show in the future, if there is a future, and that's all up to you, because if we suck at this and you tell us we suck, well, maybe we'll just keep getting on video chat, and you and I will chat. Okay.
We'll send it to your mom, Dave.
Right.
She'll watch.
Mom will be here. Is
She'll
Mom
watch.
here yet? I haven't seen Mom join yet. All right. So I'm David Stringer. I am an entrepreneur and a CEO of a company called Insignia Group in the automotive industry. We've been doing that for a hot second of almost 20 years. We are a software company in the automotive industry, and we have lots of fun stories about what it takes to make it in the auto industry as a software company. I also am CEO of another company spun out of Insignia, which is called Your Configurator. And then I'm pretty active in the entrepreneur network within Rock Hill. That is south of Charlotte for those that are joining us from not in the Carolina area. Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is a hotbed for entrepreneurship, and got lots of really great, neat companies and other entrepreneurs here. So at this stage of the game, I fancy myself as sort of an entrepreneur coach. I like working with small businesses and entrepreneurs and people trying to solve problems every day, as well as keep my own company from not running into the ditch. So that's me. And I know this guy. I haven't figured out the camera quite yet. I know this guy from family, friends, and family. We, like I said, I think on a little test run, we kind of orbited each other around a certain family. We'll get into that. And so Matt, tell everybody that doesn't know you who you are.
Thanks, Dave. I'm Matt Stocke. I am a professional actor. I've lived for 25 years here in Midtown Manhattan, also known as the epicenter. And coming to you from Hell's Kitchen. And I've been a professional actor for 25 years. Over those 25 years, I've also been involved in several other legitimate entrepreneurial ventures, as well as a bunch of harebrained schemes. All with the idea of creating my own work. I got into acting solely so I never had to get up in the morning. That was my intent. Just did not want to have to set an alarm. And thus far, it's worked out fairly well. But I also have realized over the years that it's not the only interests I've always had. I've been a photographer since I was 12 years old. My uncle, Jim Hysong, brilliant man, he got me interested in photography when I was about 12. And I had actual film cameras, all this equipment from him that no 12-year-old should have had, but it was just incredible. And it became a wonderful hobby. I had my own dark room when I was like 13 years old. It was nuts. But it stayed a hobby throughout my life. And then about 15 years ago, I got my first digital camera when they started becoming less expensive. And that turned into, over the next few years, being encouraged by some people to open my own photography business. And I did, and it became a really great side hustle. It's a logical progression for us as actors to be on the other side of the camera. And it's been a terrific, not only money-making venture, but an incredible artistic venture for those of us who spend our lives on stage or in front of a camera, to be behind a camera and to help our friends feel good, look good, get new pictures, and kind of just spread the love is outstanding. So that's been going on for about 7 years. And also about 11 years ago, I got asked by a very good friend of mine who was also an insanely successful businessman, and his wife as well, to do something called corporate training, which I didn't know what that meant at the time. And basically, I come to find out that it is going to people who are in the business world and the corporate world and essentially teaching them acting 101. It's to take people who are not used to doing presentations, not used to performing, not used to being on camera, and kind of instilling a little bit of my experience and experience-based wisdom on them. And I find it to be some of the most rewarding work that I've ever done, to take people who are oftentimes completely, deathly afraid of performing as business people, and to give them a little bit of confidence, to have them up their game even a little bit, because it's not anything quantitative. You can't say, hey, that guy got 50% better at his presentations, but you know it from them when you get a phone call or an email or a text saying, oh my God, I felt so much better after my presentation. And it's been a really nice, surprising entrepreneurial venture on my part, and it's kind of been a well-rounded career that oftentimes we as performers can get very myopic and be sort of tied to, well, if I'm not working as an actor, I'm not working. And I never wanted to do that. I did not want to ever face that. And as I get older, I really don't want to. So it's been a lot about creating not only streams of income, but things that really interest me, and that in some small way, in a very sort of altruistic Buddhist fashion, to throw some good vibes into the world and kind of help people. So that's where we are. I think
that's how we got here, actually, is because if you'll remember a couple of weeks ago, I happened to see a Facebook post where you were saying, I can't figure this government stimulus stuff out. What should I be doing? What should I be applying for? So you and I connected, and because our company, Insignia, has been on the front lines of this. We applied for the EIDL. We applied for the grant. We applied for the payroll protection.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to announce, and we let our employees know that we were approved and funded today. Fantastic. For the payroll protection. So we are one of the very fortunate companies to get through that process. And believe me, I'll tell you maybe a little bit about that on a future episode. But anyway, so you and I got on the phone, and then like 7.5 hours later, we were like, oh my gosh, we should do a podcast, because
well, you said we should do a podcast. I went, what's a podcast?
Well, I was trying to protect the innocents. And I think your response was, yeah, I got nothing else to do.
Sure.
So here we are. And as we were talking, I was so impressed, and why I said we should do a podcast. I was just super impressed with what you were telling me about how you had diversified your income, how you had done some really smart things, the way you set up your corporation, which is you.
Right.
And in one of our companies that I work with my wife, Michelle, that she actually owns the company. I just work for it. 768 Productions. We work with musicians and bands, and so I know very well how young bands and musicians struggle, and I think that's very similar to actors and how they're trying to figure out how to set themselves up as a company, because their product is, your product is you. Insignia builds software, you build you, and so I was super impressed with how you had structured that and set that up, and I thought that could be the seed of how we could create what hopefully will be a successful share of ideas, wisdom, experiences. I mean, some of the experiences you and I've already talked about that we could share on this.
It was also one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you that day was because for years I'd been told by my tax accountant, you have to incorporate. And so many of us as actors are afraid to do it because the one thing that it prevents you from doing, which is oftentimes a safety net for actors and any performers, is collecting unemployment if you are incorporated. Mm-hmm. She finally, her name is Ginger O'Toole, the associatestax.com. She's a genius, little plug, fantastic.
We'll post it in the comments.
And she mapped it out for me about almost 2 years ago, and it made perfect sense. And I finally made the plunge into it and couldn't believe the benefits of doing it. It was a scary thing. It felt very grown up to finally incorporate and to come up with a name, which took a while to do. And I asked a lot of friends and, how to name a corporation, but it's been incredibly successful. She has had to explain it to me 20 times, what it means to be incorporated and to pay myself and be on my own. It's hard to wrap yourself around it as a performer because we spend so much of our lives as beggars. We are professional beggars. I don't care what level you're on. You walk into a room and you say, please like me. It doesn't matter if you're a super big time movie star or someone just starting out.
And dude, that's sales too. So I get it.
Everything is about that. Whatever you're selling is about that. But we are just constantly, having to beg. So the idea of coming up with a corporation and how that's structured, it's a very foreign thing and a very scary thing for a lot of performers. And so when I did it, it sent me into another place of really wrapping my head around it in a business fashion, so that when we've had this unforeseen circumstance and all of these things are coming out about now corporations are eligible for unemployment, they're eligible for business loans, for all those things, I asked a general question, and thank God you jumped in, because it has become very clear over the last couple of weeks what would have been right for my corporation is not right, according to a lot of the new benefits for small businesses. Right. And that you put me in the right direction. And as it turns out, there are things that I am eligible for. So I'm able to stay afloat during this time until beginning the next phase, which for anyone I think is going to be a challenge, particularly for us as performers. It's going to be incredibly challenging. And that's obviously something we'll be talking about a lot here. And hopefully we can get a lot of input from a lot of people who are in a similar situation as I am.
So let's talk a little bit about where the name came from, and ultimately maybe what I think it was. Right, it was thrown out as just sort of an offhand comment, and you picked up on it and said, "Oh, there it is. That's the name of our podcast."
Yeah.
And the more I thought about it, the more the visualization of a fortune cookie made out of toilet paper, I don't know. I just fell in love with it, and it's a goofy, bonkers name. And everybody that I say it to, they have this reaction: "What?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think it's catchy. I think our hashtag TPFC is rolls off the tongue. But yeah, as I remember it, we were talking, and we were talking about the theme, which I think is going to be recurring, which is about adjusting to this new situation, and where the answers come from, we have no idea. And that it might be from some BS Chinese toilet paper fortune cookie. And I was like, wait a second, let's skip the BS for the kids. Let's take Chinese out because they're getting blamed for everything. And let's just like toilet paper fortune cookie. Like out of a fortune cookie might be a piece of toilet paper, but on that might be some crazy ass new idea which will set things in motion. And it was certainly sort of symbiotic how it all happened. We're like, oh, that's great. Toilet paper fortune cookie. Now we have to explain to people what it means.
what it means. And then we came up with our slogan, which I love. And yeah, so, the whole concept here is really getting into entrepreneurship, getting into the situation that we're in, and the situation as we evolve out of it. I know that, the folks at Insignia can back me up and go like this, because my slogan for the last 8 weeks is be aggressive, be aggressive. And I end every meeting that way, and they go, no, stop, I'm gonna be saying that all day. But that's the point, is right now you shore up what you can shore up, and we're kind of past that point. So if you haven't shored up stuff, sorry. And now it's time to be aggressive, and it's time to find new ideas and explore ways that you can take your company in all kinds of different ways. So that's really the point of what we see here and what we want to do. And moving forward, how we're going to evolve out of this. Luckily, maybe we'll stick around. We'll have 2 people, next week, and maybe 1 person after that will just stick with us. But we'll keep doing this until it sort of runs out of gas. And there's no running out of gas for ideas, because
exactly.
There are so many people that have great ideas out there, and we'd like to highlight them, talk about them. So we do have some rules, and I don't have my funny little banners. I forgot about this one, but this rule is called, we have rules, mother trucker. That's supposed to be the segment that we're in now. And we are kids. We are really resolute about this. No politics in the comments, please. This isn't the place to air your political views, and we're not going to air our political views.
We're not blaming anybody. Nobody is going to be blamed here for anything. We're talking about ideas moving forward. That's our goal.
Yeah. So we're off of that. Next segment, unexpected entrepreneurship. I think this was yours. You came up with this segment. Do you remember?
The idea being that, and this might be the all-time lemonade out of lemons kind of situation, but I have a belief, and I've thought this kind of from the get-go of this, after the initial shock wore off, that this might be a really good thing in some ways. I'm not downplaying the horrific nature of what has happened. What I am saying is that if we pivot in another direction, that there are opportunities that are going to come out of this that were unforeseen, that will be unorthodox, that come from unexpected reality. Yeah. That why not have David Stringer or Matt Stocke or any of our legion of friends or people who are in business in any respect come up with the big idea, come up with the next idea, come up with the thing that makes you just kind of go from here and look over there, because that's what we're going to have to do. Things are going to move forward, especially like my business is my main source of making a living, being an actor. Everybody is working on this round the clock right now, and there are smart people working on things. And every day there's a new story that comes out about how especially we're going to attack live theater moving forward, because it's a huge thing, and there are so many obstacles. But that why not think that I have the answer? Why not think that you have the answer? Why not think that every person we know might be sitting there saying, I don't know, this sounds kind of foolish. Why? This is an entirely new way of doing things it's the unexpected. 100%. And so why not allow that just to say, where's my unexpected entrepreneurship? Maybe it turns into something that I go, there's the idea.
Exactly. I know this shouldn't happen, and it does. It affects me. I got into a Facebook banter with someone about what I felt, how we're going to exit this, and I was trying to put forward a positive note that yes, we are in a financial disaster. Duh. And it's a little different than the other financial disasters of the past. And I'm not going to get into the details of what I think and what I don't think. And what I came to realize in the banter of this person going back and forth is that they were terrified, and their terror had frozen them from any grasp of how they can move forward successfully. And they talked about 2 small businesses that are devastated. Sure, yes. And so what do you do with that? You can either cower in the corner and drink yourself into oblivion and cry into your beer, or you can get aggressive and get creative and wrap yourself around people who are saying, okay, well, you own this type of business that used to do this here. Could you pivot? And that's our next segment. Could you pivot and do this? Can you take it in that direction? And I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've talked to over the last 7 weeks who they say, okay, let's just have a little strategy session. I have one in particular that I'm super proud of. He called me and he said, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should just lay off everybody and close my locations. I don't know if I should, go for these loans. I just don't know what to do. And I said, well, let's just talk it through a little bit. And by the time we were done, after, 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so, or just batting around different ideas back and forth, a light bulb went on.
Sure.
And he's like, that's it. That's what I can do. Oh my gosh. I was thinking about it, but I wasn't sure I could do it. But this conversation makes me feel like I can do it. Let's do it. And he's changed his entire company. He's having one of the biggest profits going on in his company right now, more than anybody, than he's ever had. Right. And it was because he got super creative and aggressive and didn't just say, no, that's it. I gotta leave. I gotta just shut down. So that's what we want to hear. So this part of unexpected entrepreneurship, this is the part where we want to hear from our audience that's hanging out. We got 32 people that are hanging out with us, and a ton of comments that we'll get to in just a second. But do you have an idea? Do you have something that you've been mulling around? Are you the next unexpected entrepreneur that you'd like, to kind of roll with it and see what could happen? We'd love to hear those ideas. We'd love for you to maybe share that idea if you felt comfortable sharing it, or you can private message us.
Sure.
Happy to sign an NDA or whatever. We got enough. I got enough businesses to run right now. I don't need a business, so don't worry about me stealing your idea. So
don't be afraid. Honestly, especially for those of us, for my actor friends out there, there's nothing but new ideas coming up. There's nothing but new ideas. It's going to take all of the new ideas, and there's no such thing as a stupid one, because everybody's trying to figure it out. There's nothing that we are facing, especially in the theater world, that anybody should discount right now. There's nothing. So they're all just new ideas. They're not necessarily bad or good or whatever. They're just new ideas. And we had another one come out today from Mary McCall of Actors Equity about how they are really going to tackle starting up live theater again. And there are, like I say, I have tremendous faith that there are smart people everywhere figuring this out, because there's no way, especially those of us who are theater people, there's one thing we do not do is we do not just sit there and go, okay, I guess we'll just take it. I guess we just won't have jobs for 2 years. Okay. No, that's not the way that any of us work. We are by default, we are problem solvers and we are team builders, and it's going to take all of it. So in this thing where we talk about pivoting, throw it out there, think about it. And if you don't want to throw it out there right now, do not throw out the idea. Like, make sure that it's something that you keep thinking about. There's no such thing as a bad one right now. We're facing a new way of doing things, and I think in a lot of ways it's going to bring up something really awesome. I really, really do.
Cool. All right. So one of our next segments that we're not going to really do these segments tonight, but we're just sort of introducing them, seeing how they play. This is the one I can't wait to just sit back.
Oh God.
Grab my scotch and just listen. And that is the Stocke stories.
Oh God.
And, I've already heard a couple that,
when I was in college, I was apparently, go ahead.
Queen Elizabeth. We'll save that for another episode.
I'll tell that now. We can kick it off.
No.
Okay,
hey, we got to keep them coming back. We got to keep them coming back.
That's very true. No, the term Stocke stories I told Dave about, because when I was in college, and as unfortunately many of you who know me will understand this, I cannot tell a short story. I cannot tell a story in 3 minutes or less. I cannot help but embellish. Because I always think never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Like, honestly, people, just, let her rip. That goes out to all my boys from Green Tree and Dormont, and McKees Rocks and Banksville. But yeah, I was told in college that they had put a name to them. They're called Stocke stories, where you start out and you're just like, oh my God, I remember when this thing happened. And everybody just goes, okay, he's telling a story. Settle in, and I'm like, fine. You don't want to listen, you don't have to listen. But I got, we're gonna weave a thing here. So yeah, be forewarned when it comes to, okay, here's what we're gonna talk about today. You're gonna get a lot of details. So we're gonna paint a picture. We're gonna paint a picture when it comes to it.
Good. Well, hey, shout out to my friend, old friend from childhood, Robert Mars there. He looks like he's got to go. Take care. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Stopping by again. Watch the end of it, when you get a chance. Our next segment is going to be called Stringer Strategy Sessions. And if you say that really fast, it doesn't help it. Exactly. So what that's going to be about is if anyone feels the desire to reach out to me and say, look, this is an issue, a problem, a challenge that I've had that I haven't been able to overcome in my business. And I just sort of need a strategy session. I'd love to do that. I do that a lot with a lot of people, and some good stuff comes from it. And then what we would do is share that and share maybe not the particulars of what the decision was, but definitely that we went from point A to point B or even C, because that's usually how it works. And maybe what happens from that. So that'll be another segment that we're going to do it. Where we're going to do, and then next one I'm going to let you in.
Comments.
Say what?
I just found the live comments.
Oh, you!
I told you I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
There's a lot of them.
It's just I don't know how it works, but now I do. Yeah. Hey guys, how are you? I'm scrolling. This is all very exciting. Hi Valerie, you're my favorite person ever. Oh my goodness, this is really fun. Hi guys, we're doing a podcast and a thing. I can't believe I'm this fascinated by this right now.
All right, well, so I'll tell you what the next segment is. Or are you back?
I'm back. I'm good.
Okay. Well, tell them what the next segment, because I think this is funny.
It's going to be a section tentatively called "Don't Do That," or possibly "What Not to Do." And it comes from years of spending my life being embarrassed, as most professional actors do, because we are more or less professional auditioners. We audition 95% of the time and actually work maybe 5% of the time if we're lucky. But I've been telling people for years the best way to learn how to do things as a performer is to go watch other people do them. And that will teach you what not to do, as opposed to emulating, oh my God, that person's such an amazing auditioner, or amazing this or that, that it becomes quite obvious after a while that you kind of sift through and go, okay, don't do that. Don't do that.
Nope, not going to do that.
Do not do that. I tell young performers all of the time that the best training that you can get is to be what's called a reader. In auditions, there are the people behind the table, which are the director, the producers, choreographers, musical directors. They're behind the table. They're watching you come in and do your material. And there's always a person off to the side who is a person who reads your scenes with you, who plays all the other parts in the scenes that you have to read for your audition. And that particular job of reader, I think, is the greatest education that you can have to give yourself as a performer, because you sit there and you watch 100 people a day come in and audition. And you start to see, oh yeah, that person was really talented. That person, boy, they really worked hard, but maybe aren't exactly right for it. But more than anything, you can spend an entire day just watching, sort of as a fly on the wall, because you're over to the side and you're not the ones making the decisions. You're just observing and reading with them. That you can watch, and you're oftentimes going, oh God, stop talking, please. Oh no, oh, you're doing so well, but now you're not doing so well. So you need to stop talking right now. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
So much like sales. It's like, just
honestly,
stop talking right now. Quit selling. Just shut up.
The amount of times you see somebody
shut up.
The amount of times that you see people talk themselves right out of a job. You know, like they came in, they blew it out of the water, and they sang their face off, and the read was awesome. But then the first thing they did was like blame the accompanist, tell them that my agent gave me another time, this and that, or like after you're done, like I'm so sick today. Oh my God, I'm so sick. Like, oh my God, just stop it. You're so good. You're so good. Stop talking.
Just stop talking right now. Put it back.
It's a little bit about just years of experience of having both sides of it. The times that I've observed it and like watched people either really, really kick ass or go, oh God, you really just talked yourself right out of that job, and knowing from myself. And I have horror stories to tell about auditions, which are super fun, in retrospect, you can tell them now because we all live to see another day.
And I've got a couple of stories I could add to that segment. So,
Everybody
all right, we are winding down. Well, we're about 2 minutes over what we were shooting for is 30 minutes, but I think it's still pretty good for two guys.
We didn't start till like 2:38, 2:40, something like that. So I think we're coming right up on 30 minutes.
Listen, I mean, for two guys that like to talk a lot, I think we're doing pretty good. I mean, this could turn into a 4-hour podcast. So,
right
on. So I do want to acknowledge some comments here. So, hey, Melly, my sister.
Hi, Mel.
My sister. Dave West is here, co-worker at Insignia. I believe Anton LaPlume from the Side Hustle Band, sidehustletheband.com. Check them out. And he's another one that's a great example right now. I'm going to point him out right now. So I can't put his comment up here, I don't think. Anton has led his band right now to do some really innovative things. They've started a podcast, which is kind of the inspiration here. And then they are really working towards developing their bass to help them get into the studio to finish their second EP. So, you know, good stuff going on out there, Anton. Valerie's here. Michelle, I think I know her. Aren't we having a date tonight? I have a date tonight.
Oh, come on.
Scotty's here. Kendra's here. Chris is here. John Marasco's here. Good buddy of mine. John Crawford is here. And that's a good lead in for, next week. We are doing this. I don't think we ever decide. We are doing this on a weekly basis. Weekly?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we thought, and you can leave us messages about this. We thought that right now, because there's not a whole lot of commuting happening, and there's not a whole lot of happy hours happening, that maybe on Friday would be a good time, like around this time, around 5:30, to get yourself a cocktail, or just kind of, if it's pizza day for the family, or something kind of easy. It might be just something to kind of chime in and see if we can start just the momentum. I'm a big believer in energy, and I think that kind of at the end of a Friday, even though we don't really have regular weeks right now, it might make us feel like we just finished a work week. We finished doing something for these 5 days, and then feel like as we go into Saturday and Sunday, we did something. We started the momentum, and hopefully that Fridays can be that. And if you have a few drinks, then so what? It's Friday.
That's right. So Giant Davino is here. Bill Cantlin. Thanks for all the support, guys. I love it. Kimberly is here. Mo is here. Valerie, Liz, lots of names. I want to post those one thing here. See if I can find it in the comments.
Right.
I'm gonna embarrass the heck out of her for a quick second, but she's also in theater and performer. And I want to talk really briefly about a great pivot.
Hey, Melanie.
Melly Stringer, Melly Simpson, Melly Stringer Simpson, whatever. Talk about a huge pivot and taking a really bad situation and making it awesome. My sister, along with Julie Frost, created this group called COVID-19 Virtual Run. You can look it up, 19.3 Virtual Run. They just had like 2,000 people across the globe last Sunday, the 19th, run. We walked 3 miles, 5K. Matt was out. So many posts, and it energized people. It created a community, and it's something that no one 6 weeks ago could have ever imagined to have a global run group. So that's exactly what we're talking about Chinese toilet paper fortune cookie stuff. So good job, Melly. We love you.
It's so much fun. I'm looking forward to May 31st, next run.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm gonna double my.
She's got a hashtag. I'll share the hashtag here. Run 19.3. So she's got a hashtag. So check it out. It's pretty cool. All right. So we're gonna close.
We should start with drink recipes. Not a bad idea.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
There you go. Why are some of these come up as Facebook user and other people are as people? Why is that?
Because they didn't give. So that's a note for those that are posting. Some of the comments we can see, like I can see them in my other computer over here. Some of the comments, though, I can't see within our little StreamYard. And that's because you have to give StreamYard permission to show your name and your picture and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, then I can see them on Facebook. Again, I'm learning this. This is all brand new. Thanks, Dave.
Right. So we'll go through the comments and comment and everything. All right. So next week, 5:30, we're going to hold to this time until we get an overwhelming suggestion to do it at a different time. We are going to have our first guest, and I'm super excited. I'm working with this gentleman. His name is Micah Davidson. He owns a company out of Charlotte. It's called Midwood Entertainment. And Micah is in the entertainment industry with music and festivals, and talk about an industry right now that's been decimated by what's going on. And yet, just like we were talking about with Anton and his band Side Hustle, finding ways just to not sit there and do nothing. So he's got some things that they've done. And we're going to bring him on. We're going to interview him on the second half of the show next week. So it'll be the riffing of these two guys here. No, not that guy. That guy. Wait, not back there. I can't do this. Anyway, so we'll riff around a little bit, and then we'll bring Micah on, have an interview style. So we love you all. We really appreciate the 30 people that stayed, or at least the level of 30 people.
Amazing
to us.
Thank you.
We have over 300 people in the group. We're going to launch a YouTube page. We're going to launch a regular podcast that you can catch the whole audio on a regular podcast. If you just want to listen to it again. Okay.
And it's on Facebook, right? They can rewatch this on Facebook.
Yes. So you can do a watch party. We'd love that. You could, re-show it to all your friends and invite other people if they think that they would get some value out of it and enjoy our camaraderie. So anyway.
Quick thing. I want to say thanks to Richard Blake for the drink recipe idea. I couldn't see that it was under Facebook user. I am not surprised that it was Richard Blake who said you guys should do drink recipes.
Here?
That is not surprising at all. And really, really great advice. Love you, buddy.
All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your Friday. Rock and roll. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Have a great weekend.